Hi there. We had a great chat in my live stream earlier this morning about an article that just came out. I wanted to clip out some of it because I know sometimes these live streams are so long and it's hard to watch. It is a little bit choppy because I tried to shorten it and make it as efficient for your time as possible. So apologies on that, and I hope you really enjoy it. But as usual, before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. Okay, so the article I wanted to go through today is I don't know. There's just so much I see here, and I thought we could talk about it because I see a lot of deflection. See a lot of projection, and yeah, let's get into it. So the article is titled Prince Harry, oh my gosh. Prince Harry starting to get frustrated with Meghan Markle's this approach. And I have to ask, is it just singular this? Because it should be multiple things that he should be getting frustrated with, in my opinion. And the text here says Harry's starting to think they've made a huge mistake moving to California. He's made a huge mistake, all right. Right? He totally has. I know, right? A big mistake. Exactly, Teresa. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Okay, so getting back to the article begins Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are set to be on a very different page when it comes to keeping the identities of their kids under wraps. This has been disclosed in a report by The New Idea after Meghan shared a video montage of precious personal moments of Harry with their kids in order to mark Father's Day in the US amid the unrest in California. And I just want to put this into perspective. There wasn't just unrest in California. It was nationwide, right? I didn't watch a lot of the coverage of what was happening, but I know that this was something that was happening nationwide. Okay, I'm going to go to the next part of this article, and it says the insider tells the New Idea about the Meghan Markle Instagram post. He can't believe the post went up on the most violent of weekends in recent history, and one that needed the U.S. Marines to intervene to show Archie and to show the kids' faces online for the first time. It was a Father's Day surprise, but he's stunned by the timing. He knows Meghan feels she has to prove a point, but her timing couldn't be worse. Some days, the only way he can see to keep his family safe is to get away from LA. There is so much here. And let's start with the first thing that I'm noticing. The first thing I'm noticing is emotional displacement. When someone is upset, but they don't consciously know why that is, they attach their emotion to something that's like concrete and socially acceptable. In my opinion, he is not comfortable sharing the children's images. He's not comfortable with Megan's behavior. And instead of naming that as the issue, he's latching onto something external, the timing of the post, the political climate, the optics. It's displacement. The emotion is real, but he is changing the target, and it's a safer outlet for him because he doesn't have to really see his wife's involvement in his discomfort. I think this whole story is not about LA at all. And factually, Santa Barbara, Montecito, it's about 100 miles away from LA. Plus, they live like in a very guarded community. So I would say that they are far away from anywhere that there would have been danger. In my opinion, Megan crossed the line by posting that video, and instead of him addressing it with her or even admitting how it made him feel, he redirected that discomfort into geography. Because if LA is the problem, then he doesn't have to confront the real issue. And I wanted to give you 3 scenarios that you might have experienced this type of emotional displacement. It could be someone that yells at you for buying the wrong kind of socks, but the real issue is that they have stress at work and you're the safest target. It could be that you get silent treatment over a joke. You made a harmless joke and the person won't talk to you for a few days. It wasn't the joke that was the issue, but there was some type of resentment or shame that was going on. And it could be someone who criticizes your tone. So you calmly say how you feel, and they lash out and say, I didn't like your tone. But it wasn't about your tone, it was about them being uncomfortable with you having a boundary. She didn't show their actual faces, and you know what? I actually was editing and prepping the video, but I forgot. I can share the video with you all here. Do you guys want to see it? Yeah, releasing will be payday. Okay, Neely wants to see it. Nicole wants to see it. Teaspoon wants to see it. Old geezer wants to see it. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna go on. Actually, I won't go on mute. I'll show you guys the video. Here it is. It's weird because if you look at the bottom, do you see how there's like a curve at the bottom? For a second, I thought maybe that first one was caught on a Ring camera, but it's really odd that there's that half circle at the bottom. So yeah, some of the images do show a lot of the kids' faces, not clearly, but it's there. Oh, thank you, Yorkshire Teacup. I appreciate it. Why is it so blurry? Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so this is the clip that Harry is upset about. And I mean, I can't imagine, I don't know, why post something like this. And it's so weird. We get conflicting stories, right? Because they post this, and then we had that article just a couple of days ago about how Harry is trying to show the king what he's missing out on. And then there's this article now that's like, well, I didn't want Megan to post it anyways. Yeah, is it portrait mode or something like that? I don't know. It's really odd. And if you look at the video, it's the whole video looks like that, right? Let me hide the comments. So, yeah, the whole video has that like black half circle. It's hard. I don't know if you guys see this part, the grayed out part of my video. Really odd. There's different kids, a lot of people are saying. Sarah says it's weird because she's filming a screen, it looks like. So it's a phone filming another phone, Sarah believes. Yeah. Ivy of House Spark says, to be honest, he knows and is okay with it. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let me go to the next part of this article. Um, and it says another insider claims LA's curfews and clashes seem far more serious, and this time Harry not only has a wife but two kids to keep safe. Harry's starting to think they've made a huge mistake moving to California. Seeing the rest of the royals, and here it is, guys. Ding ding ding. Here's the reason I think why this article is even out there. Seeing the rest of the royals looking so happy, juxtaposed to what was going on a short drive away from his home with the incessant whoop of choppers flying over him, it's easy to see why he's having regrets. There it is. I mean, there's many reasons for him to have regrets, but and I do want to point out his projection of the the location. So he's saying he's deeply unsettled because of the conflict in California. What I really think, though, is what he's unsettled about is his marriage, his choices, but he doesn't want to sit with that discomfort. So he's projecting it onto geography. Suddenly, California is the issue, and that's classic projection. He's not saying something's wrong inside me or inside this relationship. He says something's wrong with this place. And he did the exact same thing in the UK. He felt emotionally unsafe, unheard. He felt the family dynamic was off. And instead of acknowledging what was going on there in his own relationships, particularly in his marriage, it turned into the UK is toxic. The media is the problem. The firm drove us out. And now that he has problems here in LA, instead of being introspective and trying to see maybe there's something happening in my relationship, maybe the problem isn't that there are protests and riots and things happening in LA. Maybe the problem is inside my home. Let me see what you all say. Miss Panda says Harry doesn't have any leverage in California. He's blame shifting. Yes, yes, yes. Ivy of House Park. Yes. Opinion says Megan called the paparazzi at Tyler Perry home. Yeah, Tom Bauer discovered legal permission having been given. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Didn't she do the same thing with when they were on that island in during the holiday season of 2019 when they were in Canada? She like purposely gave away their location and then that's when they allegedly went on that freedom flight. Yeah, exactly, Miss Panda. The negative dynamic is not geographical, is matrimonial. Yep, Harry has regrets about Megxit. Yes, yes, yes. I completely, completely, completely agree. Yeah, so going back to this projection, projection acts like an emotional bubble wrap. So it lets us criticize something outside ourselves so we don't have to confront the thing that actually hurts. Examples of this could be a partner who constantly accuses you of being selfish when you're the one compromising all the time. And in reality, they're deflecting their own self centered behavior onto you. Or someone that says, you're trying to control me. You ask a simple question like, what time will you be home? And they explode. It's not about the question, it's about their own controlling tendencies that are being projected on you. And I want to go back to this really quick, this last paragraph where it talks about him seeing the royals looking so happy. And I was trying to figure out what this is. Is there a term for this like psychologically and how can we talk about this? And what I found was something called comparison distress. And so this is when emotional pain is triggered by seeing other people looking happy or successful, especially when it contrasts so sharply with your own situation. So Harry is seeing the royals on the balcony, they're smiling, coordinated, secure, and he can't help but compare it to his own instability, isolation, and the conflict that's happening under his own roof. It I would imagine that it makes him second guess everything doing this comparison. And I'm curious what do you all think about that? Do you think that this comparison, comparing his life to what he is seeing is really making him recognize buyer's remorse, Sharon Wright says. Yeah, yeah. He's stuck. Steve says he's stuck with Meghan and the royal family have rejected him. And you know what it is, Steve? How can they trust him ever again? Agatha's asking Steve, do you think they'll take him back? Not 20 says he's been isolated. Yes. Hi, Paula. Carol says Harry has blown all his relationships and broken the trust. Yep. Lulu's mom says everyone blames Harry for her, which ultimately was his decision. What he got was a narcissist who took control of him so easily. He's weak. Absolutely. He is accountable in all of this as well. Lisa says, "I think he has a lack of control that makes him from going forward with life." Yeah, a lack of impulse control. And you know what? Megan has a lack of impulse control too. It's so weird to me, and this is with regards to Megan, that someone can be so strategic. And I mean, if I've heard that Megan Kelly said that in the early 2010s, Megan had a vision board with Harry on it. And then she marries him. So to have that kind of strategy, to be able to it's genius. How did she do it? I don't know. I don't know. But then at the same time to be so impulsive that, you know, Catherine does something and it's like a knee-jerk reaction. She has to do it too. It's like there are certain things that her envy and her I don't know, what else could you say brings it out? Um, her ego, like if it bruises her ego or if it flares up her envy, she has no impulse control. Neely says, "Imagine having the royal family take care of you your entire life, then meeting MM and trusting her. Now look." Yeah. Imagine being MM and having the world at like the world is your oyster and throwing that all away. I think that's one of the most fascinating things about this. How could you not see the opportunity that was there? Yes, Carol, actions have consequences. Harry has not learned that lesson. Melanie says we shouldn't feel guilty for being compassionate, but we should remain realistic. Yes, well said. I agree. I was like reflecting on all of this. I think that real regret doesn't need a spiral, but comparison builds one anyways. So sometimes you may walk down a path that wasn't meant for you. That's okay. But the regret you feel, that may not be the worst part. It's when you start comparing your choice to what you think you could have had. That's when things spiral. It's one thing to regret something that happens and to learn from it. And there's another thing of comparing it, like how Harry is doing. He sees the balcony, he sees the smiles, he sees the structure he walked away from, and suddenly it's not just regret, it's doubt, it's envy. I know, Teresa, how could she think she could? I know. What do you think Megan posting, it should say video, posting that video really meant? Was it intentional or was she being tone deaf? She's tone deaf, Lulu's mom says. Camilla says everything Megan does is intentionally. Carly says she is tone deaf. Not 20 says she can be cunningly tone deaf. Yeah. Yeah. And I think also Megan following the trooping the color amazingness and the Beckhams being knighted or David Beckham, he was knighted, right, that weekend. That must have sent her on a spiral. So she had to create something, I think, that would beat them in quotation marks, pull one over on them, be better than they are. So